Hello and welcome to COMP3218 Game Design Let's Play for Coursework 1. I'm Adrian Chapman, a lecturer in the course, and with me today is...
Ioan Malinov, one of the demonstrators.
Excellent. So for this coursework, we asked them to do three distinct things. They had to present us with a game prototype that showcased a core dynamic, and they had to use tutorials and level design to help us play the game, learn to play the game, and experience this core dynamic. Shall we play our first game?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, and we have our first game, Invasion Resistance.
Yeah, so the options is just to enable or disable sound, so for now we'll leave it like that. The music is actually very invasion, it sounds like aliens invading it. No, it's kind of thematic, so let's start.
Excellent.
Commander, hello soldier, you need to survive this invasion. Oh, hello commander, soldier number. I understand the situation.
Oh, a little fast, it's a little fast.
WASD or and that. Use your weapon, left click in the direction you want to shoot. However, you limited ammo. Wait extra to arrive. Okay. Okay.
Okay, so we now know how to move, and we have limited ammo. I love the flashing light to the right. It's going on and off, and left. Okay.
Oh, are you? Oh, there's oh.
Okay, up. You've got some hearts for health. We have a 33, a counter on your ammo. We have 11 seconds. I guess this is how much time you have left to survive. You have wave ×1, so we're either in the first wave or you've successfully completed the wave. I guess possibly the level that you're in. I can't quite tell what that black exactly.
This year, it looks like probably skip, not skip, but fast forward, maybe.
Right. Okay, so we're in the second wave. We've got some seconds. All right. 47. Your ammo went up, I suppose, just as part of the wave. You were able to reload.
Yeah. So when the timer reaches 0, I think that's when the
wave changes.
And the ammunition, and you get to pick, as you see, either health or more ammo.
All right. Ah.
And it's only one, I think, because they both vanish once I pick one.
Yep. Okay. And in come the bugs, more and more and more. Now, interesting, that wave was very... Okay, so we're still in this wave. So far, the waves feel very similar. Oh, if you go out one street light, do you come in the other street light?
Actually,
are you bound in there?
No.
Nope. Okay.
Oh. Okay. So it spawned the pickup, but I was on it at the same time, so it immediately.
You didn't get to choose. You just Yep.
Because it spawned in the same place as me. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't notice the timer.
Sure. You're down to 4 health, so you bumped into a bug once and you kind of went down a bit.
Oh yeah, let me try that actually. And there's some invincibility frames. So I assume if I get hit, yeah, and there's... Oh, okay, again, I was going to pick up the health, but it spawned in the same place. So
sure,
I picked up
where you were. So I think this is, I mean, it's not so much a bug. This is actually, I think, poor design that is kind of mimicking as a bug at this point.
Yeah.
So let's start walking through. Speaking of bugs,
yeah,
the game, but also the bugs in your marking criteria. So in quality, we're asking for 2 very different things. We look at presentation and meaningful play. So presentation right now includes audio, graphics, and information design. So audio, we have some nice background music. Do you have, I can't quite hear, like ping, ping, ding, ding, as you're
I
shooting and the bugs die?
so yeah, shooting. There's a sound when you shoot. Uh, I yeah, there's like an explosion sound when you kill the bugs. A very
Right.
faint one, but it's there. The music, again, yeah, it's there. There's like a pickup sound, you know, the normal, like the Mario coin pickup, very memorable. Uh,
Sure. Sure.
and what else? I think that's all there is. As for, you know, sound design.
All right. And in terms of graphics, the asset pack is actually cohesive and complementary to what you're doing. Um, yeah, so I would say the audio is appealing, the graphics are consistent and effective, and the key information, actually, I think they've done very good here. That all key information is actually clearly shown. It's easy to read. It's very clear where we should be looking. They're neither too big, too small. Um, yeah, I think the information is very clearly displayed.
Yeah. Oh.
Um,
Oh, and yeah, I forgot that there
what's
was no ammo. So
you're out
now,
of ammo. So now you've just got to run around for 20 seconds, huh?
oh, yeah, I'm
Uh-oh.
going to die.
You're gonna die. Well, while we watch you die here, just going to mark the spreadsheet really quickly. Um, and let's talk about meaningful play here. So actually, we'll do quick bugs, and I don't mean the bugs on the screen. So we've identified that. I think this game is reasonably complex, and there are infrequent minor bugs. So I think that kind of it spawned the health or bullets where you happen to be actually is a bug, and it does detract a little bit. So you at one point completely ran out of. You meant to do health, you got bullets because of just
Yeah,
where you're going to be standing.
one other thing that you probably didn't notice or you wouldn't be able to notice while looking at me. At some point, I don't. Yeah, okay, so right now if I stand at the corner
Yeah.
and it doesn't shoot where my mouse is, so kinda,
Uh,
you know, because I was shooting and then it wasn't shooting towards the mouse but a bit, you know, upwards, and I wasn't
sure.
hitting the bug, so I would say that's a very minor thing because you wouldn't really always go to the corner
Sure.
anyway, but
But
still.
it's so what about the controls that you have? Are we smooth and usable? And are they intuitive?
I think yes, yeah, pretty much. So everything you would expect from a top-down shooter, you have, you
Yep.
know,
And
moving and mouse and shooting, and
it's shooting kind of where the mouse is going as opposed to where you're facing. That's
yeah,
exactly as we would expect.
yeah.
Right?
One funny small thing is that there's like an unmute and mute button on the bottom.
Yes, I see
But
that.
if I try to click them, it shoots as well as clicking. So I waste an ammo to unmute the game or to mute the
Right.
game.
Okay, so I think we should put that kind of in the bug category, which we've kind of said there's a few, and
Yeah,
they're not
minor.
bugs like the game is glitching. They're bugs as in a little more thought needs to be put around kind of
The design
placement
and
of the character, yeah, the design
yeah,
exactly. Um, okay, so let's talk about the mechanics in this game. So the mechanics that I see, you can move around, you can shoot, and you can choose to pick up either health or bullets.
yeah. I think that's it. Yeah,
Yep. And I think that they are complementary
Y-
for the game that it is.
yeah, yeah. It does feel survival, and you pick up, and
Absolutely.
I'll die probably.
And it's interesting that, I mean, it's a fairly limited number of mechanics in this case, but I actually think that they work for the game that it's in. Yeah, that they're not just consistent, that they do complement each other. And I think the one that tips me over the edge on that is the choice of the bullets versus the health.
Yeah.
Because now you actually have to make a choice, and it changes kind of how you can interact and play the game. So I think that one choice there is the piece that kind of gets us out of, well, you've just got a few mechanics, but you actually have complementary mechanics.
So I don't know where this would go, but for example, you have your ammo.
Yeah.
And 2 times in a row now, I was shooting, and I completely forgot that there's ammo. And I was like, oh, now I don't have ammo and I'm going to die because I completely forgot I have to keep in mind the ammo. So it feels like maybe there was a better way to have the ammo in the mind of the player rather than just having it in a corner here.
Right. So health right now is very big, like big red, kind of in your face.
Yeah.
Whereas that bullet, it's like one bullet and then some small green numbers. So
Yeah.
possibly on the information design, they, a set of big bullets in groups of 5, and you could see the bullet coming down, and then one goes away when you've gotten through 5 bullets or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. That would be
Sure. Just a
much
little
better.
more in your face, because right now you're right. Your eye is drawn to those big red hearts that are sitting there, and that looks very comforting, doesn't it?
Yeah. And yeah, I'm more concentrating on, the screen in the middle and killing the bugs rather than the top, at least the bullets. And I only remember them when I have to pick up something.
Sure. So maybe it's and this could be something as easily solved, because I think the right information is up there, but possibly that it's just not as obvious to the player.
Yeah, to a player, yeah.
Yep. Right. So, sorry, we're flipping on, or we're moving on now.
Yeah.
Sorry, give me half a second to figure out where we were in the.
I think we were on the.
Finished the piece about meaningful play, and we are now in the next large category of fulfilling the brief, which is level design tutorial. So the tutorial, which, I mean, you're happily playing in the game right now, but we can talk about the tutorial itself. The tutorial puts you in the same environment and had a little narration between
I can actually
a commander and a soldier that told you how to move around and how to shoot, and that you must survive. There we are. Thank you.
In order to move, press the arrow keys or the WASD.
Yeah.
So I think if I don't press anything, it doesn't continue, which is good. So it makes sure that the player
can read it.
Yeah. And then I think it's the same with the mouse. If I don't shoot them, it's never going to continue. So I have to do it.
You actually have to practice the skill before it's moved on.
Exactly.
Yep.
And I think that's pretty much all there is to the tutorial.
I mean, it's a fairly simple tutorial, but I think they've actually presented a gradual explanation of the gameplay, and they've actually aligned it with the play, right? You have to move around, and then you have to shoot those two bugs before you kind of get launched into your waves.
Yeah, it feels like that. I still don't know what this fast forward button is.
No, no. So what about talking about the pacing in this game? After we get through that first tutorial level, do the waves change? Are the waves getting harder? Or
It's
the
pretty
waves
much
just...
the same set of either 3 bugs here or a few bugs there, and I think it's mostly the same waves, at least from what I've...
Yeah, that's kind of the feeling I've had watching you as well. So are we at the pacing is flat? Or is there tension somewhat rises over time within each wave? How about within a wave? Does something happen within a wave?
I mean, if you run out of ammo, I guess, you know, the tension would rise and you have to survive, but it doesn't feel like it. You know, once I kill them, it's empty, and you know, I can kill them quite easily with 5 or 6 bullets.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like there's some yeah, I think what we're getting to here is that there could be some tension here between choice of shooting versus running away, but it you haven't, I mean, except for that one time when you kind of intentionally you ran out of bullets and then you forgot to pick them up and then you accidentally landed on the hearts because of where you were on the screen. There's not a lot of choice here in terms of the pacing. So I feel like there was an attempt, but it's a variable. It's not completely flat, but it's not yeah, it's not very successful in this pacing. And what about goals, risks, and rewards within the level? So the goal is to survive. The risk is that you get overwhelmed by these things because you run out of bullets or health, or you die, right?
Yeah.
What's the reward? You survive to hit another wave?
Pretty much, I think.
I'm not sure that is that reward enough?
Yeah.
Why do I want to keep playing this?
Yeah, that's the thing. I guess it's for the high score, but that's not necessarily tied to the game. I'm thinking of how it would be done in a like what you could do to make the reward better. Maybe if you finish the wave quicker, you know, kill all the bugs sooner than the timer, and then you get more bullets or a better gun or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. So possibly some reward is yeah. So if you kill them all quickly, hey, look, the last one gives you some sort of a gun, right? Yeah. So then there's a reward for certain performance as opposed to just hang out and don't get hit.
I mean, I'm not actually sure if the way that they've done it, because my bullets have been constantly going down, so and I'm trying to, you know, use the optimum amount of bullets, and I don't know if it's, you know, the later it gets, the less bullets you have, so I guess it gets harder.
Yeah.
Yeah, for example, right now I don't have any bullets, even though I shot pretty much everything correctly.
Okay.
And now I have only 15 for the next 4 or 5 waves, which, you know, starts making me sweat a bit because I have to
Think about how you're
yeah,
going to get
decide what
them.
I do. So, for example, I could kill the small bugs only because the big ones take 2 hits,
Right.
but are
Okay.
slower.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, there is actually some kind of pacing.
So, so that's excellent. So there is some pacing. Although, did we learn about the 2 hits and the bug differences in our tutorial?
Kinda, yeah.
Kinda, yeah. They put 2 bugs kind of coming at you at the same time, and off we went. Um, let's move on now to talking about core dynamics. So, what would you, after playing this game, feel that the core dynamic is?
So there is kinda two at play, I think. So it's survival. No, I
Yeah,
think it's mostly survival with a touch of destruction,
yeah.
or
That's
maybe the
kind of
other
where
way.
I think we are. I think it's no. I think it's not the other way. I think it's very much survival with a hint of destruction. And let's see. Let's check their game notes and see what they felt this was. So they actually felt that it was survival. Good job, guys.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, they pretty much identified it as survival, and that's exactly what they meant to do. So yeah, very well done. I think they identified it exactly right. And if we kind of look back and see what we're looking at in terms of the marking criteria, it's a clear dynamic that is supported by the primary mechanics in this. Um,
Yeah, I think that's,
yep.
it definitely feels like you're surviving rather than
Yes, yes.
destroying.
I think the question becomes, are we start edging towards a clear core dynamic that is supported by an integrated set of mechanics? And I actually think that we might be there. I think between the motion that they have, the choice between health and bullet, um, I'm happy to go with a clear and integrated set of core dynamics on this one.
Yeah, I think that would be fair.
So our final category is around feedback. So let's take a look at what the feedback they wrote for their game was. um, so the feedback was, why is your game fun? And the whole idea of a survival game is new high scores and no boundaries of how much you can play. So they approached this by making sure that the player would enjoy the gradual increase of difficulty in the game and resource management, while surviving from wave to wave. And I think they did an okay job there. I think we noticed that there's some problems with pacing because the waves themselves, they don't get, there is no appreciable difference across waves from the first wave to the 8th wave in how much harder it gets. How do you acquire more resources was another feedback question they were given. And they thought very hard about this. And so they basically, between the waves, they give a choice of restoring life or ammo. And I think that actually was this is actually the part that made their game work as a game. So I think they heard that and they did very well there. Another one they received was, how do you manage the resources? So each wave was 30 seconds, and they did play testing again. I'm so glad, with a casual player, and they did. I really like this. So they basically went to a casual player, and the casual player needed 15 to 20 bullets to complete the first levels without stressing out. They, as the game builders, were able to do it in 10 to 15 bullets without difficulties. So they were basically trying really hard to think about how many bullets and how much health they had and set it at a level that would work for someone between a casual and an experienced player. Well done. I actually really appreciate the game testing.
Yeah.
How do you teach the player what they're doing? So in this case, the player, they basically built in their tutorial level with a little dialogue, which was very cute. So, it wasn't just use WASD. There was a little storyline attached to that, which was very cute. And the final was some feedback around information design in the UI, and they thought about it for a while, both what needed to be in there and how it should feel, and they wanted to do an arcade style or feeling. So they tried very carefully to give like the graphics and the countdown, which we had already decided the hearts and the bullets were very cute, and I think very successful. So overall, I think that the only thing that wasn't, done perfectly was some of that pacing around in Why is the Game Fun? But otherwise, I think that they heard the feedback very well and and addressed. So I think where easily and feedback has been interpreted and addressed, and the changes have been successful. Excellent. I think it is time for us to play another game.
Yeah.
All right, and here we have our next game, which is called Big Iron.
So it starts on this screen, and there's some very nice music, like Western style music, really nice. And this here button arrow, I click on it and it's for graphics, which is, I guess, a nice little thing for people with worse PCs, I guess. So let's start with, I guess, clicking on one of those. So so I get a crew, and I can read their abilities, I guess. Can lasso enemies towards himself, rifle shoots through enemies, fires 3 bullets in a spread pattern.
Okay.
And I can
Okay.
choose a different.
Yeah, let's see. So the 200 bounty person is better than the 100 bounty. What does this person have the ability to do?
I think that the bounty is for. So we make a crew to capture this person or that person, and this is the crew. So I'll click on. Yeah, it's just info. So I from the information I am given, I would assume that I get a crew of 3 people, and we have to capture this person, or one of the others. So I'll click accept on the first one.
Sure.
Oh. Enemies highlighted red are preparing an attack next turn. So this enemy.
Wait, who's the enemy?
This here.
Okay.
And you can see there's a health and speed option there, and we have our crew, which is the 3
in the blue.
Yeah, and again they have their own stats. So it's something like
a standoff of some sort, and you get to place your people. So we've got some tables that we could hide behind maybe. You're very close to the bad guy. Do we want to hide that person? Can we move that person?
Okay. Oh, no. Can I
put
undo?
Him there.
Undo. Yeah, undo. I can undo, don't worry.
Oh, wow. I love that. You can do an undo. Let's move that person. Behind a table.
Here. That's behind.
Yeah, that'll do.
I do wonder because I didn't notice if there was any indication that I have to press on them and do something.
So we have some trouble kind of learning how to move people, but that's we've kind of just stuck into the game.
Oh, and they have the abilities here. So this person, I guess, is the one who can lasso.
Yeah, let's put him behind a table too.
This has a weapon, and this. Okay, so let's try.
How many moves do we get?
I think for every person we get a single move. Yeah, a single move.
All right.
And behind.
Well, let's shoot this person. Let's try to shoot. Oh, we moved him. Never mind.
I can try to shoot in the same. Oh, you can see there's a area of
shot.
So if I undo, Or can I undo only once? Maybe. Undo. Let's try this one. Doesn't look like it, so let's try this one. Weapon. Lasso.
So close. So close.
Okay, so I guess we'll end the turn and see what happens.
Yep.
Not all possible actions have been used. Continue. Ah, so it warns me that I have some actions that I can do, like shooting and all that, but
But we don't think we'd hit anybody, so.
yes. Let's see. Accept. Oh. Player bullets can ricochet off objects, dealing increased damage per bounce. Oh, interesting. So he moved and
And we
didn't
got a
do
new bad
anything.
guy in too. There's now two
Hmm.
bad guys.
I think I can hit uh, maybe this one. No. Let's see. So I'll try to move here in line of over here, and then shoot him and see. Oh.
Did you just shoot yourself?
Yes, it looked like it, but I didn't. I don't think I. Oh wait, I shot.
Oh, you
Ah,
shot him.
because it also shoots up. Okay, okay, okay. Yeah. So that was a good move actually. So let's not the lasso one. This one. Uh, where can I go? Again here? Hmm.
Shoot.
Which?
You can shoot the guy in front of you at least.
I'll shoot my friend as well, but okay. Oh, wait.
Oh, you just killed yourself. Uh-oh.
Ah, okay. That's a good. I didn't expect that. So
No, no.
you have to
Es-
actually think a lot about.
Especially since that one guy's rifle kind of shot in straight lines, you know?
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. There's no more dead. Oh, more bad guys.
yeah.
Wow.
Can't really get close to them, so I'll end the turn. Oh, another one. Oh, and another one.
Whoa.
So I'll shoot that one. So the different abilities. I think this person, the green one, shoots a rifle, a strong weapon, in
Yeah.
one direction. The
Yeah.
one who died shoots a lesser weapon, but in all directions, I think.
Right. Right.
Uh,
So you keep playing. This actually looks like um, an interesting game in terms of spatial reasoning and now if you shoot there, is it going to ricochet on you?
yeah, it doesn't. Mm, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, you didn't shoot. So, all right, end your turn and yeah, see what happens here. Oh. Yeah, so if you shoot him with the guy to the right, if you use if you use him to shoot, would you kill yourself effectively because it ricocheted or would ricochet?
Well, actually, if I shoot him now, he's only going to go to one health, and he won't, and the bullet won't go through because it's just a pistol. I think they
Ah,
did say in the beginning that I remember one of the uh, guys had a gun that went through multiple enemies or something
I
like that.
see. I see. So you keep you keep playing. I'm going to pull up and we're going to start walking through the marking criteria for this particular game. Um, so we're going to start up around quality. So the presentation and the meaningful play. In terms of quality, we can talk about audio, graphics, and information design. So there's definitely some music in the background. How about the little audio effects, the dings, dongs, bings, bangs?
Oops. Yeah, so there is actually, from what I can hear, let me just actually increase the volume just a bit. There is very slight music, the Western music. When I shoot, for example, there's like bullet
Very nice.
sound, and yeah, it's
So
overall.
it's complementary and appealing.
It sounds like it, yeah. And also when I move, there's like a move sound, and it fits
Very
pretty
nice.
well.
And I think visually we've got consistent, effective, and very appealing graphics in this.
Yeah,
I definitely
it
feel that I am in a Western at this point.
yeah, definitely.
Talk about information display, because I think this might be one of the ones where there is a lot going on, but I actually think they might have done it very nicely. Whoa, we're in a brand new place. Okay, Corral, huh?
Cows are friendly and nice.
Wait, the cows are friendly. What happened? But you don't want to shoot a cow?
Yeah.
I can still remember one of my friends taking me skeet shooting out on a farm in Texas and saying, "Just don't shoot the cow."
I mean,
So,
they don't
so
deserve it.
yeah, I didn't shoot any cows. Um, so let's see. There's a lot of information going on in this game, right? You've got good guys, you've got bad guys, you've got health and speed and different weapons. You've got, actually, I love the ability to undo. You have the ability to select what tile you're on, where you're going, what you could shoot on. You've got health. Um, there is a lot here. Oh, and there's a score. Now, the score, I think, is possibly the only thing
Ah.
that I'm not sure about, in that we don't need it. I don't know that I've needed it at all. I just want to kill bad guys. Um,
I wonder. It's
yes, I wonder about the score. But what about, I think that in general, they have done a really nice job at information display. So depending on the character you highlight, you can see their weapons. You can see where the weapons shoot. You can see where you could move to. Um, yeah, I think it's the information design here was well thought through. So I think it's all key information is shown clearly.
I think yes. Uh, yeah. The only thing that at the beginning, I guess at least, they immediately show me the three cowboys, sheriffs, or whatever we are, and immediately say this one has that and that one has that, and I
Yes.
couldn't have time to remember because I didn't know what that means. But
I
after I
I think
played for a bit, it's okay, I
yeah, I
think.
think we'll talk about that at the tutorial level. Like I did find that introduction very confusing. But we'll talk about that, I think, more on the introduction itself, about tutorial itself.
Yeah.
So let's talk about meaningful play. Um, so meaningful play has bugs, mechanics, and controls. I haven't seen any obvious bugs, and it's a reasonably complex game.
Uh,
Have you
the
seen anything?
the only very very minor bug is with the score because I think I shot one person, the score went to 250, then I undid, the score still stayed at 250. I did the same move and then it went to 500. So that's a
Ah,
very small,
tiniest. I'm not even gonna. I mean, yes,
yeah,
that's likely a bug, but I'm not even
not game
gonna.
breaking.
It does not in any way impact your play at this point. Tell me about the controls. We're looking for smooth, usable, and intuitive. Where are we in that?
Uh, to me at least, they feel quite intuitive. Uh, because you click on a person and you get like their area of where they can move, and then if you
Mhm.
select the weapon, you can see where they will shoot. Uh, I wonder because again it was a bit confusing, at least at the beginning, the controls themselves, and you had to get used to them a bit.
Right, right. So possibly not amazingly intuitive, but once you got a hold of it, so maybe just a half step down from that, like perfectly intuitive.
Yes, yeah, sounds like that.
Right? And now let's talk about the mechanics within this game. So let's just do a quick list of some of the mechanics we're seeing here, right? So um, you can choose your posse's, each person within your posse, how they move, how they, or if they use a weapon, which weapon. So that some of them even have multiple weapons. You have each weapon has its own set of
abilities.
yep, exactly, difficulties, abilities, and
Yeah.
yeah, how they actually function. Um, you have some ability to get shot or to shoot people, right? So there's some around the way health works and comes down here. Um,
He shot the cow. Why?
who shot the cow?
Why? That doesn't. He's really a bad guy. If he kills innocent animals.
Can't believe he shot the cow. Um, so actually, so mechanics kind of come down to um, lots of different types of movement and lots of different types of um, weapons, effectively.
Yeah, actually quite I don't know if it's a wide set, but it feels quite big.
It does, I was kind of that's exactly where I was getting. So I definitely think that we are in a complementary set of mechanics. And I I am just unsure about whether the range of guns here, or the range of speeds of movement, right, creates a big enough to say it's a wide set of complementary mechanics, because they're effectively all guns that shoot in some set of rules and movement constrained by some set of rules. So what would a different mechanic be in a game like this that would take it into a wide um, set of mechanics?
I wonder, uh, what would it be? Maybe, mm,
What if I here's one. What if you because bullets can ricochet, right? And we've already determined to our pain that we can kill ourselves accidentally. A mechanic could be moving the furniture so that you could pick up a table and angle it so that you then fire a bullet to ricochet off.
yeah, or maybe even at the beginning or later on, maybe that happens, but we still haven't gotten there. If you have more than three people, or you can choose different set of people with abilities, that would
That would be a
definitely.
great mechanic too. So I think those would if we had one different type of mechanic, it would easily flip us into the wide set. As it is, I think we're in a set of complementaries, but because each of those are there's lots. They've done a great job in terms of lots of different types of movements and guns. I'm going to actually edge them a little bit above a set of compartment mechanics, but not all the way into a wide set. Um, so let's now talk about um, level design and the tutorial. So should we talk about tutorial first?
I guess yes, I can actually select. I, let me see. Yeah, so each level does tell you some small tips or something like the environment can be used to your advantage, so enemies drowning flash it into the water. Oh, that's actually. I didn't
Oh,
know that. They could have said that earlier. So, wait, did the.
I was wondering why we had a lasso.
I think I broke it.
You broke it. Oh
I
no.
can't click anything. And okay, I'll just close it.
Sure. Why don't we restart and okay. So don't accept anybody yet. Let's whoa. Darn. Did we just get somebody accepted?
What do you mean?
Oh, so here's the question. Actually, go back to that. I know it's hard to go back. Can you go back to the big main screen with the 100, 200, 300 reward?
Level select. Yeah.
Are these the levels? Is that what this is? So you've picked a level with a reward 100?
Yeah, yeah.
Ah, see, I missed that completely. Okay, and then what happens if you not choose this but open this? Okay, so here's where we decide the crew, and you basically see who is in your crew.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So I totally misunderstood this screen. And if anything, I was worried that, and because these are all bad guys, you put reward posters up for bad guys, and bad guys totally have a crew. So I thought that this was like your bad guys crew coming into
Ah,
this. Yeah, and that
I
these were,
see.
right? Um, so there's, but I mean, some of that could just be a cultural misunderstanding since we
Possibly,
have a
maybe.
different relationship to these posters. Um, okay, so by you accept this level, and we have some knowledge in advance of what each of these players does, and they're color coded by
Mm.
shirt. I can see the shirt now. But you know what? At this point, I still, unless you choose them, but then you choose them and the bullet the gun type or the lasso type comes up. Can you choose one that has a pistol attached or a rifle attached?
So just a heads up, if you play a level, but go back to the selection screen and select another level again, or the same one, I cannot click anything, so I have to restart.
All right.
Let's see. So it starts immediately with enemies highlighted red are preparing an attack next turn. Oh, I completely missed that.
Mm,
I Yeah,
yeah.
that might be because I thought they just shot randomly, and now that I look at it, this enemy is in red, so I would assume they are going to shoot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's actually something that they should that the tutorial doesn't give enough
Yes.
time for.
Yeah. And so how about this? In a perfect, because we have stumbled through this, and I'm actually kind of enjoying this game, right? Um, but it has taken some stumblings and some just, well, let's just click and see. And in this case, look, this one you didn't kill yourself. No health went down, even though you shot the bullet to yourself a few times, unlike
E-
previous times.
yeah, I don't know when.
Yes. So right here is a whole set of things that a good tutorial should teach us, right? So for example, maybe in the first tutorial, there is a single person and we learn how to fire and that our bullet ricochets because because we're constrained by our environment in a way that it has to ricochet and has to ricochet and kill somebody, right? Or take down the health. So I think that and that takes it all the way down, right?
Yeah,
Um,
sadly.
to the smallest of the smallest steps you could take somebody through.
Yeah, yeah.
And it doesn't quite need to go that far, but as it is, I felt lost, and we're still finding out random things about this, a few times through. Now, we did notice was it level 3, that at that point, that's when the lasso is introduced. So if anything, that's almost too late. So it needs to have some. Why is there two lassos and just one weapon? Is it that you could do
I
once
I
you use it, you can use it only once?
I think that's a keyboard shortcut. So if you
Ah,
press one or
okay,
two.
okay, thank you. Very nice. So so I guess where I'm going with this is, um, I think the tutorial was a good effort, right? That they obviously were thinking, oh, we should introduce the lasso once there's water and everything else. Um, but then don't give us the lasso here, right? But
Uh,
if
well,
ricochets are really important, then they should make us use the ricochet.
well, in to be fair, I did try to use the lasso on the second level,
Yes.
and it did bring the person closer to me, so I could choose where exactly they
Uh,
uh, fall on which square.
so that's nice. Um, that's really nice. And so I guess, but I still think where I'm trying to go with this is that you got there because you trialed and errored it. You
Yeah,
were
yeah, yeah,
willing
yeah.
to say, "Oh, let's play,"
Yeah, it
as
doesn't
opposed to,
give the
yeah,
player a tutorial for that exact mechanic.
exactly, exactly. Um, so I think where this is getting us is that are we there's some explanation of gameplay and controls?
There is definitely some very small, although again it never tells me click on a person to look at their range, and it doesn't say what the green uh, things are, but I guess you could argue that they left it to the player to test, to just try and play it, which is in a sense a valid way, but it's not necessarily the best way to for this kind of game to introduce the mechanics.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah. I think we're definitely not at gradual explanation of gameplay and controls revealed as you play.
Yeah, it's quite jarring immediately in the middle of a standoff and you have to start shooting.
Yep. So let's talk about goals versus rewards since we're going to talk about shooting. Um, what's so the goal here is kill bad guys, don't get yourself killed. Have the bad guys ever shot at us yet?
They did shoot at a cow,
They
and
shot the poor
yeah,
cow.
yeah, and at me a few times on the second level.
Right.
But
Okay,
and
so it's stay alive and kill the bad guys.
yeah,
The risks are that in some way you will get shot or killed. Um,
yes, and uh, I think that, and even then, I on the first level one of my crew died, and they were back there on the second level.
the second level, sure.
So in that sense, there is no risk if you die, I guess. I mean, if you all three die, yes, probably you lose, but
Yeah, yeah. And what's our reward here? That we move on to another level? What's the
with a
score?
score,
Yeah, the score.
yeah, it's uh, yeah. So here's one thing. For example, if when you shot a rifle at a bad guy, if the bullet hits them, a small score above their head might pop up just to show, oh, you got 200 points.
Yeah, plus 50, plus 100.
Yeah, exactly. That
Like
would
when
be
you're
really
driving
nice.
along and you say, oh, get the student in the crosswalk, that's 50 points, right? Not that we would ever do that. But yes. Um, yeah.
So that would be, yeah. Oh, now I understand. You can see because it's highlighted red. He's going to shoot on the next turn, and I can see
Uh,
that he's looking towards a cow. And now I know, oh, he's going to shoot the cow, and the tutorial just told me don't kill the cows.
right.
So,
Right.
but again, you saw that I didn't see that the red outline means it's going to shoot.
Yeah, the first time through it was not obvious.
Yeah,
All right. So goals, risks, rewards. It's interesting. So let's see. Our goal is to kill but not get killed and save the cows. Our risks are that we can't figure out how to place ourselves and bullets in a way to prevent cow death. Um, and the rewards are a score going up based on things that we've killed. Um,
yes.
Now, do they go together? I think they go together. And I think because you're plotting, how you're moving about and, and plotting trajectories, both in terms of your movement and killing people, that they do kind of naturally fall together.
Yeah, it
I
does
think
feel.
I think with the health bars, I even think it's actually clear and coherent risks and rewards. I think that I'm not um, I think that I'm not quite willing to go up to balanced set of goals, risks, rewards, merely because there's this tension. Like I think, and some of this is information display because the scores over there, like what's my reward for shooting this person versus that person versus saving the cow or not saving the cow. So I'm not actually making a very um, informed decisions at this point.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, and it's interesting because I think so. This person came in and looked at the cow and became red, so he's going to shoot the cow. And I lassoed him closer to me.
Yeah,
So I think now he's going to shoot the same direction, but miss the cow. So
sure.
I guess we can.
Can you lasso a cow?
That's a good. I can try it on the next turn.
Next time, yeah, yeah. So let's talk too about pacing. Um, there's so each of these levels is presenting you with some bad guys. I think we're actually getting more bad guys, or at least in the first level, the bad guy came, and then there was a pause, and the next bad guy came, and there was a pause. Whereas this one, it feels like there's a few more bad guys all at once. Um, I'm not entirely sure if I think tension is somewhat rising over time.
Mm, maybe, uh, yeah, a bit more maybe. Or
So clearly rising over time? Is tension like clearly rising?
it kind of feels like it, to be honest.
Okay.
Because it's like at the beginning, oh, just shoot, 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 and try to not get hit. Here
Yeah.
it's starting to be more like, oh, I have to think about the cow and try not to get it
So the
shot.
conclusion of the cow is really a stroke of genius. Um, are we at attention rises over time in a coherent pattern?
Mm, I it's maybe somewhere it could be argued it's there, uh, and even the next level was even bigger, but we couldn't get to it because this one is quite hard.
Right.
At least not hard but long.
Right. Right. Okay. Well, let's talk about core dynamic while you keep playing, and we can possibly reassess pacing should you ever get to the next level. So, what do we think the core dynamic is this before we even check the course notes?
It feels very much spatial reasoning.
It does feel spatial reasoning to me. Let's do the big reveal and see what they say. Big Iron uh, is spatial reasoning. They said yes, we agree. That yeah, basically that they have a everything in this case feels very much like spatial reasoning, and it's a clear core dynamic that is supported by an integrated set of mechanics, I think.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It feels really well.
Yeah, really well through there. Um, and then let's address feedback while you continue playing. So let's take a look at what feedback they were given. Feedback and response. From the feedback, we were tasked with improving focus on a single core dynamic, very well done doing that, rather than having too many elements from multiple, and focusing on what makes the gameplay interesting. To do this, they made some big changes. The game was made turn-based to make sure there's no pressure in taking time on each turn and figuring out what the best shot lineups are. That was great. I think I was actually part of the original pitch, and they were going to have like moving enemies while you tried to line up your shot, which kind of panicked me because that would have been way too much for me. The game was also restricted to a grid, so that movement was simplified for turn-based gameplay, and there were not so many complicated angles to calculate by the user. They were advised to add as much player agency as possible and have a collectible or scoring system so the user's actions are reinforced as the best outcome. They did this by adding a point system that increases when damage is dealt and decreases when damage is taken, and scales depending on the number of times the bullet ricochets to further incentivize this mechanic. So the one thing I will say here is that we kind of got there in the end by watching the score about, oh, I killed somebody, the score went up. I never actually got it with the bullet ricochets. And I do wonder if like a little, arcade style +10 on every, as it hits the wall, having a little +10 pop up, and then it hits the bad guy +30. Yeah, would have reinforced that as opposed to having us rely purely on the score. On top of this, losing player team members or cattle decreases the score. This adds a risk factor when deciding which moves to take. And to be honest, I think that they heard the feedback, and I think they actually successfully addressed that feedback.
It feels like, yeah, they did quite well.
So interpreted and addressed, and the changes have been successful, actually. I think that was, they've interpreted it very well. You are on this level.
There were a few nice things just to end it with. So when I started, there was a bad guy going to shoot at the cow, and the tutorial said you can lasso them into the water. And I did it, and he died, which is nice. But, there was a small bug that now he didn't die, but don't mind that. The other nice thing was that there were two bad guys here. And this one was in direct line of sight to one of them. But if you shoot at his current position, he was going to kill the cow. So you had to do it. You would do it normally, and you see, oh, I killed the cow, I shouldn't do that. And then you start understanding that you have to go a bit forward to be able to shoot and all that. So that's at least nicely made.
Yeah, it is very nice. In general, I've actually really enjoyed this game. This is actually the type of game I really, really enjoy. Kind of, yeah. The spatial reasoning where you have movement and there's lots of things going on, and you can make these optimization type decisions. Yeah, I think a very well done game. Shooting barrels causes them to explode. We just got here. So possibly, there's just so many elements here. I think the biggest thing on this game is that the tutorial kind of needs to be rethought so that we learn some of these things a little earlier, and at the same time teach us some of the basics.
Yeah.
But otherwise, a wonderful game.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to our next game. All right, here's our final game for batch 10, a regular day and an accounting firm 2. There will be blood.
The music is quite loud and very, very hardcore.
Okay.
So let's start then. Play. Okay. WASD to run, mouse plus left click to punch. So I can move like that, and mouse plus left click. Okay. So that's interesting. So there were just two people. I couldn't really do anything else, I think. So it kind of, led me to punch them.
Okay. And then the door didn't open though until you did punch them. So,
Exactly.
Couldn't go through. All right. Can they punch you?
Yeah. So he just punched me.
Ugh.
So R to restart. So what happens if I... Okay. So I have to punch them earlier. Ah, okay. So I have to time it. Okay. Oh. And there's a score on the top,
The
which
score didn't go down on your respawn, so you were allowed to just keep going.
it did, I think, go down. So
It did. Oh, it did go down. You're right. It did go down. Sorry.
yeah. It's just that it goes up very quickly. uh, okay. So next level. Right click to grab, left click to throw. Okay. Okay, you can throw stuff and kill them from a distance. Does that give you more points, I wonder?
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, a
And again,
ninja.
they didn't let you use the door until you practiced.
Yeah, so this one has a very long sword. So
Sword.
if I try to punch, I guess I'll... Yeah, yeah, the sword is longer than my arm, so I have to use
You have
the...
to use the box.
Yeah. No boxes here, corpses we'll have to do. Oh, wow.
Ah.
Ooh, ooh. Oh,
Go. Punch him. Uh-oh.
okay. So I can... Oh, no. Ah, okay. Just a bit. Oh, and now if I wait for them in here, that should be okay. Boxes beat bullets. Bullets beat you. Haha. Oh, okay. It looks like it. I can kinda dodge them, which I guess is a good thing. So if I... Okay. So... And I can kill multiple people with the same... It's getting quite... oh,
Yeah. So you have to think through where they are and what you need and carry it around.
oh, so
Oh, uh-oh.
you cannot throw this far, just
The box
closer.
basically, you could have gone back and gotten another box.
Oh,
Huh. All right. Well, I think we should start walking through the marking criteria. And we're going to go back and we're going to start talking about quality. So presentation that includes audio, graphics, and information design, and then meaningful play. So audio, there was you enjoyed the music as it got going. How about some audio effects? Anything going on in this?
oh, yeah, definitely. So every time you punch or pick up something or kill or bullets, so it's actually very nice effects. Really, they really feel like they add a lot to the game.
Appealing and yeah, excellent. And the graphics, I think they're consistent, effective, and I'm particularly because of the blood stains, finding them very appealing.
Oh, yeah.
How do you feel?
Yeah, yeah, I think they really fit well with everything, and yeah, I agree they are really appealing,
They're very consistent. So let's talk about information display. So in this case, we can see a score.
and that's all I think. In
Yeah.
the
Yep. What I find interesting actually, so I think they've actually very subtly done something else because of the grid layout or the tiling that they've put on the bottom. Um, they have kind of effectively given you a cheat sheet around depth perception, right? So you explored in the beginning,
uh,
how far do I have to be? Um, to punch somebody, right? Oh, the ninja sword is this long. Can I get close enough to punch? And I think you're being assisted by that because of that set of tiles on the floor, which I think
Yeah.
is it's subtle. And I mean, I hope they decided to do it. It wasn't just an accident, because I'll give them credit for it. So I think all information is shown clearly.
Yeah, in the tutorial as well, at the beginning, WSD to move on the top and then left click to punch on the bottom. Very simple, just a few words and you get going. And here as well.
Yep. So let's talk about mechanics in this. First is bugs, controls, and mechanics. I haven't seen any bugs.
I don't think so, yeah. There's nothing game breaking
And,
or even minor bugs for now.
and it seems reasonably complex with all of these throwing, moving,
Bullets,
pieces.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And what about controls?
Oh,
We're looking for reasonable, smooth, and intuitive. Where are we in that set?
yeah, they really feel good. So they are very smooth. You
Okay.
feel really in control. You and I do think they are quite intuitive. So they use the mouse to make you look that way. You can throw immediately. You can pick up. So they're really well made and intuitive.
So, so we've gotten to intuitive. Very nice. Now let's talk about mechanics. So you can punch somebody. You can throw a box at somebody. You can throw a body. You can. Uh,
S- Use the body to save you from bullets
oh,
or
that's
a
right.
box.
Bodies and boxes. You can see. You can hide behind them. Very good. Um, yeah. Okay. So I think they definitely have a set of complementary mechanics. Um, and possibly because of the hiding, I think they might have a wide set of complementary mechanics. It feels a little bit odd to me about the wide set. So we basically have you can move around, you can hit or throw, and then you can hide. Is that wide? Is there something else that would have fit into this game that would have easily tipped it over into a wide?
Huh.
Hmm.
Maybe a different kind of enemy or
Yeah, actually, you know what? You just said it. And they do indeed have it. So they have different types of enemies. They have enemies with bullets, they have enemies with swords, they have just enemies
yeah,
with.
exactly.
Yeah, so you're right. I'm very happy putting them into a wide set right now. Very persuasive. Uh, let's 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 talk about tutorial, and then we'll go back to level design. So basically, I think we are in a gradual explanation of gameplay and controls, fully aligned with play, and sometimes communicated through level design.
Yeah, yeah. There's definitely some level design where for example, one of the previous levels you had two boxes, one at the top, one at the bottom, and a samurai coming at you, and you couldn't do anything else other than just pick up the box and kill him.
Yeah, yep. Um,
And
oh,
here as well, this
yep,
again, it's really nice because it immediately you can see, oh, he's shooting the box but not hitting me. So
yeah,
now I know, even without reading the text, I, I
yeah.
can
Just by
see.
looking, you can see what's going on. Yeah. And I like the fact that there's this respawn. So as soon as you learn something, yeah, okay, I get it. You can practice, die a few times, but it's not this massive go back to the beginning thing. Which sometimes when you break up a tutorial into such small pieces can get really frustrating. So I do like the respawn. Um, so let's talk about the level design. Um, and that includes both goals versus rewards and pacing. And actually, I'd rather start with pacing first this time because I actually think that it's one of the things that is leading to the enjoyment of this game. So as we go through, they're kind of hitting a lot of things, and I sit there and go, oh, maybe, but it's a very simple game. But at the same time, I think it's their level design has been very carefully done to make you use the skills, to make you actually think and plan and strategize, right? So there's some agency involved in terms, do I go into this room now, or do I, in fact, this is one of the ones that I think you have to strategize on, who you're going to kill first and how.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I think that there is tension rising over time. The question is, are we tension rises over time in a coherent pattern, or are we tension rising over time in a coherent and well-balanced pattern?
It feels to me quite balanced. Like
Yeah, it
it
does to me too.
slowly does
Yeah,
it, and
it's
it feels
slow.
even.
Yeah, it's making you practice skills. I think it's very well done. Now, let's talk about goals versus rewards. And actually, this was part of the discussion around you actually have a choice. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
just go punch somebody, it's how are you going to get them. So the
Do
goal is
you,
obviously,
yeah, do you risk getting close to the ninja?
yeah, yep, exactly. Um, I think the only, I don't think the only thing that might be slightly uh, not yet completely thought through is the rewards, right? So we have a goal and we know the risks. Um, what's the reward? I mean, I suppose not dying is its own reward, but what if you line up all of these shots in the most perfect way? Um, should there be a reward, or could there be a reward? And is this possibly a mechanic that could be added later?
Mm, yeah, that would. I mean, maybe if they kinda used the score more, because right now
Yeah,
it just
it's
shows
just
you a
there.
number and
Yep.
never again. So at the end, for example, if it showed you a list of every level and oh, you got this much points in the first level, and now do you want to show it to friends? Try see if they can do better. But
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now it's just it's a number, and I mean I can write it down or remember it, but it doesn't connect that well with the whole game in a
Yeah,
sense.
I agree. So I think they've done really well on goals and risks, and we just need a little something around the rewards here. So, core dynamic. What do you think the core dynamic of this game is?
I mean, uh, destruction. It
I
cannot
think
be
it's
anything
destruction.
else.
Yeah, well, let's go check their game notes, and they said it is destruction. So, whew, um, they got it right. We got it right. So the player is rewarded with an increasing number of points. The faster they kill an enemy. I didn't notice. I did not notice any relationship to time, and that right there might have been how the reward kind of brings it in, right? Now, and I get that there's you don't I wouldn't say adding a timer because a timer would possibly muddy the core dynamic.
Yeah.
Um, but it would be an element of reward. So possibly in between levels, you say, you did that only in so many seconds. You destroyed all of your
Uh,
enemies in so many seconds. You get 3 stars, and that might be your reward component.
yeah, that does sound like it would make it even
Yep,
better.
without muddying the
Mm.
the the core dynamic waters too much. So yes, I think they, as far as the core dynamic goes, um, it's a clear core dynamic that is supported by an integrated set of mechanics. I think they did really well with that. And finally, we're going to talk about feedback. So let's see what feedback they were originally given and how well they dealt with it. So first piece of feedback was be careful that any additional dynamics don't detract from the core
Mm.
one. Focus on destruction. So add a mechanic such as a time-based score system where the player earns more points the faster they kill an enemy. This focuses the player's efforts on killing everything as fast as possible. And then put in additional feedback effects to reward violence, such as large blood. I love the large blood splatters. Great job.
And
And
they feel really good with the screen shake and
And
everything.
screen shaking, yes. So they thought very clearly about that. So I think they've done a few things here to focus on destruction, and they interpreted it and did that very well. Um, Make sure to give it a tutorial, possibly using text boxes or something else. So they put in small segments where new mechanics are introduced gradually to the player, utilizing text in most cases, followed by an opportunity to use the mechanic in the next area. Sometimes the tutorial is given in a more implied manner, such as the room where the player is introduced to the super melee enemy. There is no way to overcome the enemy, as it has a greater attack range than the player, but the room has 2 boxes, so they have to use them. Yes. So I think actually the tutorial they heard
this
that.
one.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, this one, and they did very well with that, interpreting it. WASD and mouse are fairly intuitive controls. Picking up and throwing enemies probably aren't immediately apparent, so focus on that. So they made sure to have a full screen devoted to throwing, as well as the correct controls for them. Originally, instead of an exit opening when a level was finished, the player would be instantly moved to the next level as soon as all the enemies were dead. However, this felt very unhelpful for letting the player experiment with throwing things. So I think they interpreted that really well.
Oh yeah, that's actually...
Yeah. And then their final one was get someone to play test it. And they did lots of play testing through development, both as designers and using friends. They made sure to ask people that were less experienced with gaming to try it and make introduction of the controls as easily as possible. This led to large overhauls of the graphic design of the game. And initial phases were described as boring, and after that was overhauled as too cluttered. They even got rid of a teleporter that was replaced by stairs because it didn't make much sense. And then finally added a text when level is completed as feedback, as it wasn't clear what the player was meant to be doing. I actually think that they heard the feedback, they interpreted it very well, and changed it, and were successful.
Yeah, sounds like it.
All right, so that brings us to the conclusion of batch 10. Thanks for playing with us.
Yeah, that was really fun. So
it was.